Hello, what's up guys? Welcome to today's episode. Today I'm covering why you should stop reading like it's 1900 or like it's even like 1990, just 30 years ago, the year I was born. The reason this is so valuable, this content, this video, is because you're gonna be able to read more, learn more, and grow in wisdom and just knowledge that will be so beneficial, especially if you are in your 20s. This is something that will throw you beyond so many people in your same generation because of your ability to capture and go through loads of content fairly quickly. What I'm going to talk about in today's video is why I use Kindle and audiobook together, Audible you could say, but Kindle and the audiobook together, and why I do it on an iPad or an iPhone and not on a Kindle device. Reading exposes us to the things that we need to know or see that we might not know how to express within ourselves. So reading offers this huge platform for us to grow. Now, before we get into this, if you are new to this channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you hit that like button at the end of this video or now or whatever, because you're getting value from this video, I would absolutely appreciate that. I know the YouTube algorithm appreciates it, but I appreciate it even more. Okay, so right now I'm gonna go through a list of insights. I think I have about 7 or 8 insights. I think I have 7 insights that I'm gonna cover of why going through this process is so valuable. So let's be clear on what I'm talking about. First and foremost, I'm talking about using the Kindle app on your device, and when you read the book and you have it open and you're going through the book, you then can hit, let's say for example, down here, this play button. And what it'll do is, you can't see it on the screen, I know this is like so tiny, but what you're doing is you're reading the book and listening to it at the same time. And it's highlighting the words as you go. So I'm not talking about using a third-party app or anything else. This is directly using the Kindle app and the audiobook together, which actually come at a great price. So first and foremost, number one insight I have found in this process is you save cognitive load. Reading takes time, and reading and putting words together takes up a part of our cognitive load as we are reading. So part of our brain is focusing on how to figure out what the sentence structure is. Part of our brain is figuring out what the sentence means. Part of our brain is figuring out what the idea is that the author is actually trying to share. So what if you were able to cut out 2 parts of that and just focus in on the ideas that the author is sharing? So this is how I like to think about it. You get the ability by doing this to focus on the ideas, not the words that make up the ideas, not the sentence structure that make up the ideas, and you get to focus on the relationship of ideas in your head and not on the commas and the relationship between the words and the commas in the sentences. You stop, basically you go from putting words together into sentences, then into paragraphs, then into ideas, then into themes, and just focus on ideas and themes. The next insight, number 2, is read the same book multiple times. Because you go through this process, it makes it much easier and faster to read a book again, and it's not as much of a commitment. You can just open up the app, hit play, start listening to it. If you've listened to it before, you could listen to it at a faster speed. And if you've listened to it before, you can start on the chapters that you want at a slower speed. All depends on what you need or what you're looking for or what insight you're trying to gain. And now I'm just gonna pause for a moment as I go through these insights. Some people out there are gonna leave comments and are gonna talk about this video in a way as you don't need to go through content so quickly. And you are right. But this is for someone who is trying to expose themselves to more information. I have this personal belief that a lot of great information is hidden on page 227, but most people don't get to page 227 because they get stuck on page 12. And so this is a process that allows you to quickly remove the barriers to entry, you could say, for reading. When I was in high school, I only read 1 book front to back. I didn't enjoy reading, and I came to enjoy reading, but now this helps me enjoy reading even more. Which leads me to my third point. You can find the insights you need for the time of your life that you're in much quicker and faster with this process. like I just mentioned, you might have things that are really valuable to you in chapter 8 and chapter 9, but rather than get stuck on chapter 2 because you don't understand what the author is saying or the structure of the book is a little bit poor, you can go to chapter 8 and chapter 9 much faster because you're listening to it. So the ideas that might seem new to you, you continue to just go through them at a faster pace, and so you can get to chapter 8 and 9 quicker, and then when you're there, you can slow it down. There's nothing that stops you from slowing it down. One limitation about using the Kindle app with the audiobook is the highest and the fastest you can go is at 2x, which at times could be a little bit slow, especially if you're trying to capture the content quicker, but it is a valuable tool nonetheless. I personally wish it did go faster. It allowed the opportunity to go faster to 3, even 4 times as fast, but that's all they have at the moment. And the reason I don't do this on Kindle is they actually don't sync together. I forget the exact term that Amazon uses for this, but when you're listening to it on the audiobook on Kindle and the audiobook together, it's highlighting the words as it goes, which is just an amazing feature because then it's easy to follow along as you go along. Okay, insight number 4, searchability. This one's really valuable because many people spend so much time taking tedious notes or highlighting in a book, but then they go out with friends or they're at a business meeting and they don't have their notes with them. And so you could take notes in an app like Notion and take your notes wherever you go. But with Kindle, at the end of the book, you could export your highlights, throw them into something like Notion, or you just have them with you. And so you know you have it all the time. You could always search for it and you could always look up your quotes. Something I do right now is actually in the morning when I'm reading, I'll pull up my laptop and I'll open Kindle on my laptop and I'll open Kindle on my phone. Basically, I'll have it read it from here, and then I'll highlight on my page and take notes as it goes. The reason being is when you try to highlight in the app, it actually pauses the audio. So then you have to go back in and hit play. And that UI is a little bit poor. It's not the best UI. So it's a little bit of a tedious experience, but overall, just open it up on your computer and I have Kindle there and I'll just be able to highlight things as I go along. And so the audio can keep playing as I'm listening. Insight number 5, if we're just talking about the audio experience from the Audible perspective or audiobooks or any type of audiobooks from iBooks or Audible or whatever the platform is, this makes the experience way more, if you're a visual learner, this makes this experience way more integrated because often I hear amazing sentences, but my mind struggles to capture it because I'm more of a visual learner. So being able to see the words get highlighted as it's reading, and then for me to actually highlight sentences as it's going, and if there's a quote that just sticks out and is perfect, I could just copy it and paste it into my Notion page fairly quickly. All of that helps make this process way better than just using an audiobook or just using Kindle. So that was number 5. Now let's go to number 6. This one relates a little bit to number 1 that we went over, but number 6 is really being able to comprehend dense topics quickly. How many of you enjoy reading philosophy because the sentence structure is so confusing? Literally nobody. Sometimes texts and deep topics have very dense sentences where every word matters at a very high level. I love reading about psychology. I love reading about philosophy. But oftentimes it's a very slow process, again, because the cognitive load, majority of it is to even understanding what the person is trying to say in a sentence. But if you have the author or an expert reader read the sentence to you and you're not worried about trying to figure out how the sentence is structured mentally, your entire cognitive experience, right, is focused on these really difficult ideas. It's really easy too to hit rewind 30 seconds or just drag the page back and review that last page, listen to that last page again that you just listened to on the app. And sometimes it's just good to highlight something, make a little note saying, come back to this later, because it's a really valuable idea, but you know it's gonna take some time to really unpack and understand. And the 7th insight is what I kind of briefly touched on with exporting. You could export all your notes from the Kindle app And then you could add them into your Notion page. You could add them into any page in your system, on your Dropbox. So you could have the content in many different places fairly quickly, especially the content you loved. Someone, I'm forgetting his name right now, he talks about the second brain on the internet. He talks about reading a book 3 times, or another way to say that is you read the book, then you have all your highlights. Then a year later, you review all your highlights and you highlight some of your highlights. And then a year later, those highlights that you highlighted, you review those and possibly even dissect that further, because there are going to be some very key ideas in there that stick with you. Almost like Ray Dalio has his principles. If you've ever seen his book or any of his talks, he has set principles for life. You might see some set principles for life within the text as you go through this highlighting process 2 or 3 times. And what that allows you to do is, with having everything here on your phone, you literally could take it anywhere. And then you could easily pick it up anytime you're waiting in line, or you're waiting for something, or you're just bored. You could easily go in and access all of that content. And if you remember something, this is probably like a number 8. I have a memory that's very directional. So I could easily pick up like, oh, on this item, on this specific topic, I remember when I was reading it, they said these 3 words, this phrase. So I could just search in the Kindle app that phrase, find it on the page, and find the highlight that I had. It makes it so easy for me to keep up with all the content there is. So with that, those are the highlights. This is why I think this system is so valuable. I know I've already gone overboard by talking about 8 different topics, but truly, if you're looking into this, I would highly recommend trying it. You may say, David, you never talk about the investment. The investment is more, and that is true. But if you think about what you're getting for a book, paying $15 extra or something is completely worth it. And there is this little hidden button that I'm gonna show you right now with this how-to video about where you could actually get both of them for a discounted price. So take a look at this. Now, what does this look like? We are logged into Audible, and let's take a look. Audible sells a plan, $15 a month. You get a book every month. It counts as a quote unquote credit. You get a credit, and then you can use that credit towards any book. Good thing is the book could be priced at $30, the audiobook, and you'll get it for the $15 you paid, or it could be priced at $4 and now you're kind of paying extra. So it's worth keeping that in mind. They do have discounts if you buy for the year. It says here, if you spend $120, basically $10 a book, you'll get 12 credits for the year. And then the following, it's $150 a year, which is basically the same. Is it the same price? I think it's the same price. Yeah, it's the same price. With that, the one thing about this is, say you buy these 12 credits and you don't use them and you're like 11 and a half months into it, to cancel your account so you don't get charged again, you technically actually have to use all those credits and then cancel your account. If you try to cancel your account with credits, you will lose those credits. Okay. Now, they also have this thing where you kind of see it up here, buy 3 extra credits. Here, this is $36 for $12 per credit. Now, it's good to just keep this in mind because 3 credits is easy to work with. 12 credits is a lot to work with. 3 is much easier. So let's go to Amazon. I want to show you how this works. So when you're on Amazon and you're buying a book, I stay away from the actual audio subscription because it doesn't let you take advantage of this here. So you'll see here the hardcover is $18, paperback is $14. This is going to be very comparable. If you go to the Kindle, you have to click on it to see it. If you just click on the audiobook, you won't see it. So you'll see this, it'll just say buy with 1 click. Okay, great. But if you click on Kindle, you'll see it's $6.49 here for the book, plus $8.49 for the audio. So also buy audio narration. So be so mindful of this. This is hidden, it's hidden. And you can see here, audio is $20, but this is a discounted price because you're buying them together. This total right here for this book, $6.49 plus $8.49 is basically $15, $14.98. So when you have a $15, you're spending $15 to get both. That's an amazing, amazing deal. Next one here, let's look at this. This one is $12.99. You'll see here, and the audiobook is $7.49. It is more pricey, maybe $5 more than the hardcover. But again, you're getting both, and you have the ability to take them with you everywhere for just a few dollars more. And if you do compare it to the audiobook alone, you're seeing that it's basically $2-3 more. So think about it the opposite way. They don't advertise it that way, but if you think about it, it's like buying the audiobook for $17.15 and adding in the Kindle for $4 instead of 13. So spending the 13 plus the $7.49 is $21, just about 17. Yeah, you're spending $4 for the Kindle book. So let's go to another one, Atomic Habits. Here, they don't give you the option, but they do have both of them. So a good workaround here, if you really want to get both, is buy the Kindle, it's $15, buy it here, and then go to Audible and buy the book there, because it would be cheaper if you buy one credit, or you have a few credits for $11.96, right? That's $12. So we're looking at $12 plus $15. And now you have the book and the audio plus the Kindle. Another example here, 1984. You could literally buy it right now for $1, and the audiobook is $9.95. So $11 to get both. Paperback is $8. That's a really cheap book, and this is a very popular book that's been famous for a really long time. But $12 and you have that for the rest of your life. You have it wherever you go. It's not in a bookshelf somewhere. If you travel the world, you have it with you. All those perks come along. So again, you just come here, buy it with the one click, and then go to the audiobook and do the same thing. And I would recommend doing it here because of this price. This price is much more affordable than paying $15 for a credit through Audible. Finally, there's this Kindle Unlimited. I don't have a Kindle Unlimited membership, but you'll see it gives you all the options here. So if you do, you actually get the book for free, and then you could add the audio for just $7.49. So under $8, you're getting the entire experience, which is just so cool, so easy to use. All right, guys, that's it for today. Please hit that like button, the subscribe and notification bell. They mean so much to me to let me know you are getting value from this comment. Now, I'm gonna leave you with a question. Have you ever tried this before? If you end up trying this for the first time, come back and let me know how your experience goes, especially if you're a student or you're in your 20s and you're trying to learn a new system of engaging with the world, with content, with books. This system may be very, very helpful for you. So let me know if you have any tips, tricks that you learned along the way, and if you found value in this system. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.